So guys, welcome to this week's Navigate, and special guest is none other than Megan Jaffe. And, I've been really looking forward to having this session with you, Megan, given how you and the team have navigated through this whole set of circumstances. It seems appropriate that this series is called Navigate, given what we've had globally, what you've had from a New Zealand point of view, and clearly lockdown for you compared to even what Australia experienced was radically different, given it was a lockdown with that. So, hey, thanks for being here. And I know you've got a couple of amazing colleagues, your offsiders who've given you amazing amounts of support through this process. So welcome to today to Navigate.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Theo Field. Theo is the IT and systems manager for our company. We've worked together for 7 years, and I'm blessed to work with Theo. I could not have done what we've done in the last 8 weeks without you, and I thank you very much. And Olivia Tibbetts. Olivia is marketing manager. They said as we came out of lockdown, what are our titles? And I said, still hired, because there's been so much interruption in business across New Zealand. But Olivia's marketing manager, and Olivia, you've worked with me for going into our 4th year now, and no one can get through this alone. We have done this with a bunch of other really wonderful people, and so it would have been wrong if I'd come on this by myself, because no person can navigate 95 people safely from what we went when we went very quickly from level 2 to level 4 in 36 hours. We lived for 4 weeks in lockdown for a solid 4 weeks, and then we came out into level 3. So we've now been in 8 weeks in this environment that we've been in, and it's been an incredible journey, I have to say.
And I think, Megan, what's really interesting with this is there's a couple of different approaches that great leaders can have with this. Some had a bit of a holiday. Some went into, well, we'll just wait until things settle down and then we'll go back to doing business the way that we've always done it. And then there are other leaders, and I'm going to put you into this category, who went, okay, we didn't create this, we didn't design this, we didn't initiate this, but we actually now have a choice as to how we respond to this. And therefore, what can we do with this time? Because we've got a different time monopoly, if you like, given this set of circumstances right now. I think that's the approach that you took.
Oh, absolutely. So we could see what was unfolding across the world, and the great thing for us as a team is that we've been building a lot of automation and a lot of virtual technology into the company, and so we'd been working on that for quite some time anyway. And the thing that was stopping us from adopting and adapting quite a bit of the technology, so we were sneaking layers in, but it was resistance to change, because we in March we were having our busiest month ever in the history of the company. We did well over 100 million of sales. That was up till the 25th when they locked us up. And so
congratulations.
What it was, but it's great. So we were on this really strong path, and then all of a sudden, within 36 hours, we went from being out and about to being completely locked down. In saying that, we had 140 homeowners on the market, so our market we hadn't seen it like that for 7 or 8 years. So it was utterly in the peak of a boom for us, and we got knocked out at the knees. So we were most fortunate that we had the technology available, and we were very quickly able to go into lockdown with the layers of things that we needed. And with the 36 hours notice, we had already practiced being in lockdown. We had our guys at home able to work using a technology platform from their homes, and even though they had been resistant to change, they were very, very open to change as we were going into these circumstances, because we had to have all of our energy focused on our sellers, where we were rapidly going down, and it was just which day we'd be closed off. And in that 36 hours where we were going to be closing the doors and not allowed to conduct real estate, we managed to get 17 homes sold that would have been sold over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So we had a great plan in place, and the team worked effectively around. We're a very auction focused company. We were able to, if we had enough buyers, we were able to pull them forward, create the competition, get them sold. And then we were also able to bring through our virtual way of, we did virtual auctions during level 4 lockdown, where we had enough buyers and enough competition for the seller who wanted to make the sale. We were able to do that for them, not because we wanted a sale, but because they needed to have a sale occur, and we had the technology that we could still continue to do some business in a fragmented way for them. So during that 4-week lockdown period, we sold 17 homes.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
all of them had buyers introduced prior to going into lockdown, but we were able to wobble our way through. So, Ray White did some virtual awards during the lockdown period, and we said you have to put in a disabled category because we had both our legs busted. But we, the guys did that work for their clients and for the buyers who had they had a real problem. There were a heap of buyers who had sold, but they hadn't bought. So they actually got put into temporary accommodation in a rush, and they were living in places where they did not want to be living in them. So they were trying to secure their homes for their families. So it was very, very busy in the time we were in the 4-week lockdown.
So, there's that wonderful saying that the most productive day that you and I typically have is the day before we go on holidays, because there's nothing like a deadline. So clearly that actually allowed you to get really focused prior to that. The interesting thing is, if that can happen, are there other opportunities to put that compression in? The second thing is that would be really neat is to understand is what was your mindset and what was the strategy or the approach that you had with the team through that. And I know coming out, you've really built some pillars in the business to take the business forward. And by the way, guys, as we're going through this, any of you got questions or comments, please add that to the chat. I'll be seeing that as we go through, and we can tip those into the conversation.
Sure. So we're very clear about where it is that we're heading as people. And your brand is your people. Your people create your brand. And so I'm really privileged. There's 90 of us working inside this wonderful company, and our vision has carried us through, and it was never more tested that during this lockdown period. And so our vision is to navigate you safely home. That is our vision. It's been our vision for some time, and we've got very clear values as well. So I set the priorities of what we were going to do up around our values, and I don't even know if I knew that at the time. But if you're a salesperson, we'll navigate you safely home for your ambition. If you're an administrator, a property manager, our buyer or our seller, anybody in our world, we will navigate you safely home. And so our values, which have actually formed the pillars of how we came into lockdown. And now, so our values were so tested, and we've tweaked one from the experience that we've had. But before I say what the values are, we are utterly blessed to have had this experience. I personally call it COVID-19 because it's been a time where all of us have been able to stop, take a look, and you really work out who your friends are. You really work out what your business is like. You really work out the importance of community, all the things that really matter. When you get shut down and all you're allowed out for is to go to the supermarket in a controlled manner and to walk out of your property for exercise, that's how limited we were. And there's police everywhere, and like they were quite fussy on us, I have to say. Navigate you safely home is what I had first and foremost in my mind as I was talking to these guys and planning. But what we did is we safety first and foremost. Get our technology platform right. And the great thing is we've done a lot of work on that for working virtually. Get our communication pathway utterly right for both outward facing communication to customers and clients and internal to the team. Once we had our communication right, having our routines right, which was our structures, our processes, and how we were doing our daily work, both from a business perspective, but as we were moving from being free to going into lockdown, there was not just our work routines, there was getting our family settled in safely, getting their family routines running, being with your family because you hadn't been with your family for a while, and then getting your business routines and disciplines right in this time we were going to be all be together. Because one of those things that we enjoy as salespeople is freedom. We all got chucked into lockdown. We lost physical freedom. So we had to rejig our structures of how we time blocked, how we spent our time with how we were working. So safety first, getting our tech platform right, getting our communications inwards and outwards facing right, getting our routine, getting ourselves routinized as quickly as possible and adapting to that. And then the final one was about well-being and making sure that for every single one of us, our well-being was protected as well, because our job as salespeople, as business owners, is we're putting the oxygen mask on our customers and clients all the time, but we were all leveled, all put into the same spot. So those were our priorities as we came in. And as we came in on the first day, we immediately put ourselves into what I called a town hall meeting. So we bumbled onto this Google Hangout platform. We got someone to come in and talk and just give us a talk, and 95 people launched onto this platform, and it just gave us a place to meet, and it was utterly glorious. So daily, Monday to Friday, we have had town hall meetings, and all of our friends around Australasia and some people from the States, we've had guests coming in, we've been sharing, everything has happened through the town hall. We will never lose the town hall. The town hall's running now, we're out and about, and so as we've gone in, those were the structures all the way through. Those are the structures that we've run. And the really interesting thing is now that we're out, we're not losing those pillars. So those are the pillars. So we've simplified every speaker, every coach that we have, strategy, structure, system, standard, support. It all fits in around who we are and those layers. And around a lot of those layers, everyone's been able to have a contribution and a tweak of how we like to work it for us as a company. So that was coming in, that was while we were in there. And then coming out, if we look at our values for our company, first and foremost, the word was for us fiduciary, which is first and foremost, we're the utter fiduciary for our client. Well, we've evolved that now to safety, because our experience of safety over the last, going in and in the last 8 weeks has been unbelievable. Safety first is not just physical safety and social distancing and doing what's right as citizens. It's also about our psychological safety. And we, you know, the culture of this company is come in, you're safe, you can grow and be your best self. But our safety was utterly tested when people were in environments that weren't ideal in their homes. And increasingly the safety and the support from us, the way that we worked with each other, it was so critically important, and it is now. So this safety is really built. So we've moved from fiduciary, which is outward facing, to clients, very much to just safety. So navigate you safely home, safety, it's right up there. And that's safety and well-being, just so much. So that's the first one. That's all locked in really beautifully. Second one's leadership, and leadership's being your best self. I have seen 95 people be their best selves, and some of it's from being pulled up by colleagues, and because they've been together in this lovely town hall environment, there's been we run telephone trees of different groups of people contacting each other. We've got online pod groups running. We've got all these things that we'll never stop doing that have been created in this virtual environment. So leadership, and it's really interesting, leadership's such a lip service, you know, it's abused, that word leadership, and you and I have discussed positionship versus leadership. I've seen some of the most beautiful leadership that's just evolved off what I call inside the town hall. It's so comfy, it's like being on a couch. Well, I call it the COVID couch, and it's like, get off that COVID couch and get back out here into reality, because we've got to get the economic engine back up and running. Leadership, safety, collaboration. The collaboration inside our bubble has been unbelievable. So, you know, with busted legs inside, we were building our systems and processes as the team worked together. You know, we made 6,000 care calls as a company. All of us, when we're going into lockdown, we had a bunch of sellers that got stuck, a bunch of buyers that got stuck. We rang people up, and it wasn't to say, can we sell your home? It's, hey, are you okay? So in that environment, we helped the people who were in a pickle, then we worked our way back to people that were unconditionally sold. And we went back month by month. We went into all of March as buyers and sellers, all of February, all of January, and everyone in the team was involved in doing that. And it was just about care, because there were lots of oldies in there, lots of lonely people, lots of people were in trouble. Tell you what, that time, every single day, well invested, you can't get that back. So we've been utterly privileged to have that time where we were able to do those things. And
absolutely.
So if you're stuck in level 3, those are things that you could and should be doing, because you'll never get it back. And we were doing it every day, and we're doing it by choice because we wanted to. So I come back to our values, safety, leadership, collaboration. And then service excellence. Now, I'd love to put integrity, which is do what you say you'll do. And until every single one of us is doing that every single time, we don't have that. We have integrity, beautiful integrity, but service excellence underpins the journey that we're on as a company. And so in there, we've built our service because we've been working in these pod teams to work on the pieces of the business that we've actually had time to work together collaboratively online. Then the fifth value we have as a company, which thank God, is because we're constantly innovating and there's so much change going on here, it's adaptation. And so our resilience has been most tested by being in this environment, as has every human being on the planet. So our ability to adapt and change, it made it really, it's lovely, the adaptation, the adaptability of our guys. So now they're coming out the other side and they've been coming in saying, please, could I have a bit of paper? It's like, no, you don't need paper anymore. That's just a habit. So there's been a lot of adaptation that's occurred through this process, which we've come out the other side. And we're fundamentally just the same people with much better habits, better disciplines. We were an efficient business before doing things right. Now we're an effective business doing the right things.
Yeah, excellent. Very, very good. You know, Megan, it's really interesting. I shared with some clients yesterday that for me, COVID stands for commitment. And COVID for me, first of all, it challenged your commitment. It challenged your commitment to doing the right things and being the best you can possibly be. Secondly, opportunity. So where's the opportunity in this? And you see it more as a crisis or more as an opportunity to take advantage of. Then a re-establishment of the vision and making sure that we're honoring the vision that we've got and holding on to that vision, because it's so easy in this mode to lose it and be taken away from that vision. Innovation. So how can we do it better? What are the things that we know we need to put in place? We've probably known for a while, but we now have got almost a mandate to put these things into play. And the final thing is drive. And what's interesting is, as I go through those five, you guys are demonstrating those in a major way. Your level of commitment, seeing it as an opportunity, holding on to the vision and the values for that matter. How do we innovate and keep the innovation going? And what's the level of drive that we need to make sure this happens? Now, was everyone on board to this level of change, or did you have some early adopters, some laggards, some sort of people who are questioning it?
So going into level 4, we were all running to safety. So everyone ran into safety, and we all had the same uncertainty. All of Australia, the whole world had the same uncertainty. And I was talking to Chris Hanley about it. And you have uncertainty around fear of getting disease, and also fear that relates to money. So they were the two key things as we were talking to people everywhere. And for me, once we got into safety, once we got our people into safety, once you were inside lockdown, you were safe. Because either you had it and you were in a bubble, or you didn't have it, and so you were nice and safe. So that piece there, once we got in there, it was really great. So everybody, I tell you, they ran at speed, and it was such a relief. After we got in there, we had to work our way through matters related to financial, because there's all that uncertainty of what's going to happen. None of us know what's going on, but we were able to work our way through that with people, and we were able to put structures around that for everybody. So we've got 21 administrators. All of a sudden, the tap gets turned off completely, and we have to make sure that those guys are safe, because the salespeople had come from this thumping great run, and you always have a lag with what it is that's coming through. So yeah. We your way through those things. So that's my experience of the two key things. Everyone has personal fears that are going on, but we were able to work with people on their one-to-one to help them with what some people have got quite major health problems. And so we had to work privately with people to get them so that they were comfortable and that we could bring them in and integrate them. So when they came onto the platform, a lot of people were quiet, and it was pretty neat, because it took the borders away of where people used to sit at sales meeting, because everyone would sit in their spot and talk to the 4 people around them, but you'd be in this place and you could see everyone, and people would just start to talk and share. So people would step up that normally wouldn't get to speak, because the bigger agents, or the more forthright agents, would dominate. And so it created this level playing field where Theo and Olivia ran the town hall hangouts. I stood back, so I actually do shut up. I stood back, and these guys led the way through with how the whole thing was run, and they facilitated drawing people out. So it was about making sure that every person was pulled through and supported and looked after. And the great thing about these Hangouts is you can see people, you know they're there, and if they're not there, you also know they're not there, so we can go and find them. So that's how we did it.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. By the way, Theo, you've got the broadest smile I've ever seen. You've got some light coming across your face. I don't know if that's a window that you can pull down or something along those lines. Or you've just done that.
Watch this. Here we go. The sun's shining. So it's really
the sun shining in Auckland, New Zealand. So Megan, what do you think would be the biggest contribution that Theo can make? Theo, do you want to talk about the town halls and the structures, or what did you notice from a team point of view? And then what I'd love to do is what are the pillars you're working on, sort of coming out of this, that some of the other leaders around Australia and New Zealand can learn from and fast track and help them navigate?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Michael, basically just following on from what Megan said, it was the communication with the entire team. It was being able to get across all of those. Get out of that. It was being able to get across all of those people, and you really could draw on threads. Liv and I obviously have the benefit of living together, so we were set up in our dining room, and we'd have a run sheet basically, and we'd pull people through by, crossing people's names off and pulling them through to talk and actually to express themselves, which was great because, as Megan said, you do in a general meeting sense, they're the people that like to talk, they're the people that are comfortable talking, and they're the ones that are going to dominate the conversation. So being able to draw people through and making sure that was, outside of our care calls and things like that we were doing to our salespeople, getting in touch with people to check in on them one-to-one, being able to bring them out in front of their peers and actually have them express how they're feeling and, what they were going through was a massive thing. It wasn't just about, I did 10 phone calls today or managed to do some virtual appraisals or, any of that stuff. It was, how are you coping? How are you feeling? What's going on? Let's have a chat and all of that sort of, that sort of stuff. And I think it brought us a lot closer together, to be honest, as a business and as a team.
And Theo, just to clarify, they were one-on-one conversations where you'd notice either someone was quiet or was missing in action?
No. So that was through the town halls. So we would try and bring everyone through in the town halls and, make sure that everyone had a voice. But then to the side, we were also making one-on-one phone calls across the team. And there was a large number of us who were doing that, from salespeople, PAs, and basically just calling, checking on people. And so it sort of turned into a big, Megan said the word telephone tree before, but it was, I don't even know if it was a tree, it was like a vine. It was just sort of going all over the place. And, which was really neat because you do get, you can get stuck in your ways, I guess, of, the people that you like to talk to and like Megan said, the people you sit next to at a meeting or, whoever you go in and check in on in the normal day-to-day world. And we really shook that up and got people talking that probably wouldn't have had in-depth conversations before. So that was really neat.
Yeah, fantastic. I did a Facebook Live, it feels like 6 weeks ago now, and I talked about the routines. And what you're talking about here is what's the routines that now Megan Jaffe Real Estate, Ray White Remuera now looks like moving forward. What do you think are some of the routines that you're going to continue on and keep and build momentum with?
Well, if you think about what we teach everybody, all of our salespeople, all of our admin teams, it's about a structured and ideal real estate week, not an ideal week. And so as managers, as business owners, we're teaching everybody and ourselves to have time in and on the business, personal time. So time blocking, being efficient, being effective with our time. And what we do know is we have our time and we have our energy. And whatever the term it is that you used, Michael, we all have 24 hours in the day, and we all have a certain degree of energy, and it's how we utilize that energy with the time that we've got. So a lot of what we did as we routinized ourselves going into lockdown, it was spectacular, because a bunch of people, it was quite hard to catch them with a good ideal real estate week. So we got them over the month, Monday to Friday, we got them, and we had the morning programs and the evening programs concurrent to the town hall meetings that we ran. We also have run a beautiful WhatsApp, and it's now 8 weeks long, the WhatsApp, and it started off with, people showing photos of what they were doing at home, but now there is this whole history of our company that is it's utterly spectacular, of people who moved from, they started better exercise regimes, better journaling, better reading, better cross sharing of, they on Friday nights they have quiz nights, and there's 20 people on the quiz. There's all this stuff that happens now. So a lot of those things, they won't be lost. So the structure of a working day, because I think when we first began, I spoke about we have freedom as real estate agents. So you've got to structure the time to best leverage your time, or otherwise, we all know what it is that happens. We've spent a good solid couple of months working around those routines, and now they're habits. So we've habitualized a lot of those pieces for not just the guys and us as well as a lead admin team. There was a lot of legacy pieces that needed changing. And so, Craig and I, who both have always had rituals around paper, well, all the paper's gone, so we had to go through electronic everything. And those are things when Craig first started, he was talking about being a Luddite, and that was just fear of change. And we had to help him change the language, because he was actually blocking the rest of the people coming over. So he was doing nothing wrong, but a lot of what was coming out our mouths, we've had to change our language with what it is that's going on. So we've moved a lot of those pieces. We are much more structured working within and on the business. We've had the luxury of time to work on the business collectively as a lead admin team. And so for us as a lead admin team, a big change is we've loved resi work. And so we're much more productive when you're away from the rest of the team, because I don't know about all your listeners, but on my plaque when I'm finished, it's going to say, Megan, have you got 1 minute? Because that's all that happens to me all day is, have you got 1 minute? So I can time block away working from my home. And we've now found a place from home for us all. We've restructured how we work, so we time block from my property, and then we come in to do the work we need to do in the set times during the week, just so that we get all the stuff done that we need to get done, because there was a lot of time wastage, a lot of frittering of time, and so we've captured that time, because time is precious and energy is precious. Coming out, the biggest piece has been, when you come out, there's all the fear and the transition out's using the same blocks I described as we came in. There's a lot of fear as you come out. You've got to adapt when you come out. That was harder than going in, way harder than going in. So we've brought people out in small groups at a time so they could adapt. And there's still a few people that haven't come out yet because of health conditions. So we are running both virtual sales meeting and physical sales meeting as well, with social distancing. But as we're coming out, I forgot my train of thought. Bugger.
well, no. What you're saying was it was harder coming out in terms of making the transition than going in, and we were talking about the routine. So some of the new routines that are being established. What I am loving is I'm a massive believer in having a third space, so somewhere where you can do that on the business work. And so often, and I think even though your offices are beautiful, if Megan's present, it means you're accessible. So you've created the ability to say, hey, this is some on time. And one of the gifts of this is, even for myself, I've worked more on our business in this time frame because I've had the actual time to devote to it and focus in on it. So that's a real gift coming out of it. Theo, I'm interested in what tech have you either upgraded or put in place or built with this, and then Olivia, I'm coming over to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, going into level 4 lockdown, we had, there was no ability whatsoever to see anyone outside of your actual bubble. So we had, we'd been working really hard, and Megan touched on it before, we had been working really hard to digitize and automate a lot of our processes, but it's very easy to revert back to old ways, I guess, when you can just hand someone a piece of paper and then scan it. So we did work really hard on doing that. and so that was a large part of what we focused on. So a lot of, digital signing, cloud storage, all of those sorts of things, we brought that through. Also, I guess the technology for virtual meetings was massive, which is, as we've touched on briefly, but Google Hangout, having G Suite as part of our organization meant that it was baked into what we did already. We didn't utilize it at all. And so we picked that up the very first day. And now, to a person, everyone knows how to host a Google Hangout, and, there's vendor meetings, auction reserve sets, all that sort of stuff can be done without the need for a face-to-face meeting, which I think is great, because harking back to what you said about working on the business, etc. I mean, just coming into the office for an early meeting at 8:30, at 7:30. Now you can do that from your own home, and you can get that, that extra time in, which is just amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think this is the thing. This is the new face-to-face. So I had a client say to me, Michael, can we have another face-to-face meeting on this? I said, and initially I thought, do you want me to fly to somewhere and come and see you? And it was like, no. Can we have a face-to-face? So this is the new face-to-face in terms of, be it a Google Hangout or a Zoom kind of conversation. This is the face-to-face now, which is quite incredible that shift has occurred. And, Megan, once upon a time, if you and I were going to meet, it would be physically, let's go to the airport, and coordinate with a flight time or something along those lines. Now it's just the ability to jump on and we're into it. So the barrier has been dropped dramatically. I guess the most important thing is it would be easy to play the revert game as opposed to hold on to that particular framework and learn from it. As a business, are you doing anything to make sure that that's locked and loaded?
Which piece do you mean?
Well, we could easily revert back to saying, oh no, we'll do that face-to-face will become a physical meeting again, and so on, as opposed to let's keep the tech going. Let's keep using Google Hangouts or Zoom to be able to have that efficiency coming through.
It's a balance of both. So we are very much using Google Hangout. However, nothing beats being together. And so as we bring people out and they're adapting, we're very respectful of keeping the space around them before until they are comfortable. But Google Hangout's a powerful tool, and I like it because it makes people be on time. And so, you could have a meeting with 10 people and one's stuck and one's on the phone, etc. Those are just habits. So those have all gone. This morning I did one with 10 salespeople and they all got themselves on there, and it was a 7:30 to 8:15 session. And one of them came on at 8:14 and I just burst out laughing because I said, it's fantastic to see you. Have a spectacular day. Bye. And it was the other 9 were laughing their heads off because they were so embarrassed that colleague came in late, and he was saying, but I couldn't unmute. And it's just quite a good way for us to be respectful because of rules of relationship, etc. So that's a very powerful way, and you don't waste time and people don't get stuck in traffic and car parking and all of that sort of thing. So absolute strong place for that. 40% of our work would be in around Google Hangouts. 60% still relates to being face-to-face, and that's because as people we connect. And so, but it's now more pods of people as opposed to one-to-ones, because I don't need to say one thing 5 times. I can say that to 5 people once, and we can be together. And because we spent so much time together and now they know each other, they don't have I'm not sure about being with that person. People are very comfortable just to come together. And in this building, we've got space, so we can do that. And that's not just me, it's every single one of us, because we're now all doing the pod work, and that's why they're on this Hangout with me. It's because we have done this, we do this. We can't have a title because you're not IT and systems, you've been at the helm. But you've both been flying the ship, and they've stepped up as leaders by choice, and so they now are known where they weren't necessarily known. They might have had labels on their heads as, oh, you're the guy that fixes the photocopier. It's like, we so fixed the photocopier, we got rid of it. It's incredible strength, as do you.
Yeah. So Olivia, from your point of view, and your key role in terms of marketing manager, there clearly was a shift around marketing. And one of the conversations I know I had on an earlier Navigate was watch out being perceived marketing wise as opportunistic with the marketplace. How have you shifted the marketing message over this time frame, and what's your plan sort of coming out as a marketing message?
I guess what's most relevant is the microdata, and it's not so much looking at what was happening before, it's like what's happening right now. So as a team, and it sinks into our sales meeting on a Tuesday, we were doing it before, but we've just obviously increased it and done it in a more effective way to really capture what's going on, and it's it's up to the minute. And then it's packaging that out and getting that out to our clients, and so that they can really, they can make their informed decisions the best that they can with the most up-to-date relevant information that we can provide.
Yeah, so I love the term microdata. So and making sure it's relevant and it's now, and then shifting that to providing it to clients in a way that they can make an informed decision. We're seeing a lot, and I'd love to get your view on this, Megan. We're seeing a lot of markets where stock is moving to a place of being incredibly tight, and where there might have been, just like you were experiencing, some really neat momentum in the marketplace. There's a lot of people saying, "Let me wait and see." And then, of course, we've got a couple of economists and banks who are coming in with a view of what's going to happen in the property market. What are you seeing, or how are you countering that within your team?
Can I answer that? This is a cracker, this one. So we've all survived. We're now in the phase of reviving our businesses, and we will thrive, and we're thriving. And it's such an important thing that you're talking about right there, because we have energy, we have time, and we have to create momentum. The market was creating momentum before, and we have to create the momentum with our energy. And it's very hard to do when you guys are coming out of, level 3 to level 2, etc. It's very hard to do, but that's what we have to do, because you've got sellers who don't want to sell because they're reading that sort of information in the medias. You've got buyers who aren't sure because, I know it's in some places in Australia, you're being told it's going to drop by 30%. Like, what? That's so exciting if that were to happen. So we are the ones that actually create the momentum and energy into the marketplace. And what Olivia's talking about with microdata is it's not what's happening in a week's time, it's what's happening today and yesterday. And so in order to get momentum into the marketplace, you've just got to encourage people to come out, and it's to go to paper, to get offers. And once we get offers, we build competition. But we did 20 property sales last week. 17 of those had multi-offers around them. I think 6 were by auction, but multi-offers. And so our guys had been in habits where they wouldn't take an offer which wasn't going to be a selling offer because they'd been so busy in the rising market. But we have a very simple role with our process of moving a seller towards a sale or a buyer towards paper, and that is to get someone who'd like to own the home, get them to paper, start the process with competition, then we get price alignment, then we get a sale. And so it was getting our guys to go and get the offers from people, and it was very, very hard to do. So it's slow and it's deep and it takes time, and you have to have trust. You get the offers, you then are starting to move towards a competitive situation and then towards a sale. Now that sale is a critical piece of microdata, because if that sale, and all of our sales have been within a price range, we have experienced 2 price drops. So we sold 17 while we were in lockdown. We sold, it's the 21st, how many we sold? 26? We've sold 26 homes. Like, we're having a cracker month, all with multi-offers, because that one home sale, there is the case study of how the buyers felt safe to buy through competition. The seller was comfortable to sell. And off the back of that, here's the story for the next sellers of why they should come out. Because there are so many buyers who want to own, and we can safely create this competitive process for you. And then the information that they're reading in the media, we just counteract it with, look, that may be what they're saying out there, and look at how wrong those guys got it on how many people in Australia would get COVID-19. Would you trust them anyway? And it's like, here's the reality. So our reality today, yesterday is that we sold 5 homes unconditionally yesterday. Our reality today is we have an auction at 6 o'clock and a multi-offer for a multi-million-dollar property at 6 with 4 offers on the table. That is our reality, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So you have to be so connected to what's going on and relay it to in the right language, with empathy and the trust that you've got with your clients. So that is microdata, and that's what I think people, because they've been running so fast, they've been looking for big clumps. What happened a month ago? It doesn't matter. What happened yesterday really matters. What's happening right now matters. So what happens this afternoon we will make sure the clients that need to know about those sales know about the safety of how we transition them through. And I believe me, it's adding up to an utterly thumper month for our sellers who have been encouraged and brave enough to come out and to sell, and they're coming out in hordes. There's a massive listing shortage in New Zealand, but not at Ray White Remuera. There's a massive listing shortage in Australia. I can see the worms of Ray White with this Australasian shortage of, they've got good appraisals, no listings, and sales that I'm sure they'll flow through. But if you have to have the trust of the sellers to come through, now it's the right time. The other thing, Michael, is as real estate agents, we've created the cycle, the seasonal cycle. We've just proved that if you take everything away, real estate still goes on. So we'll go on our holidays in winter here in New Zealand, so the market goes down. Well, no one's going away this year, and believe me, there's a thumper lot that's coming through. So it's some of those fundamental adjustments around the seasonal cycle. We just take a look at those. I don't think
totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. So guys, if I can just highlight a couple of points that are coming through, and John Cunningham, I agree with that comment, that the time and energy are the things that we can control, and to a great extent, we are waiting for the market momentum to come into play, as opposed to, no, we've got to create the momentum. And Megan, one of the things I've loved about the way that you run your sales meeting and team meetings, you will do deal deconstructs. And a deal deconstruct, guys, if you're not doing this in your sales meetings, you need to. It's such an important, simple step that, hang on a tick, there was no way that deal was coming together a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and now it came together. How did that happen? And deconstructing that deal and to actually work out, well, what did you say to the buyer? What did you say to the seller? There's no way they're going to do that. What happened? And then being able to take that and say, yes, this is what the media is saying, but let me actually explain, here's what's happening in our marketplace or what we're experiencing. And the other thing that I have shared with some of our agents is, when a client comes in and says, well, this is going to happen. Look, you could be right, or they could be right. However, this is what we're actually experiencing. And as simple as that is, it's super, super strong. The other thing that you're demonstrating remarkably, and I'm sure this is everyone in the team as you instill it in the team, is I'm known for sharing 5 E's, and I've shared this with your team, many years ago, I remember, Megan, and that is energy, empathy, expertise, enthusiasm, and effort. So if you guys who are listening in, if you haven't got those integrated into your business model, you need to. And as simple as it is, number one thing people buy is our energy. The number one people are looking for is us to have empathy and be able to step into their shoes, understand. They're looking for our expertise in that microdata, as you're saying, Olivia, to help me understand it. Then the enthusiasm, that I'm enthusiastic about helping you buy, helping you sell, or for those in the rental side of the business. And then the final thing, am I willing to do the work? Am I willing to put the effort in to actually make it happen? Which is just awesome.
We are so willing, because if you're looking at the clients that we're all dealing with, they have such a need, and we've had the privilege in this time of talking to so many people, and they are in need. And the phone calls used to be quick before going into lockdown, and being in lockdown, people had a lot of time and they were really available. It was interesting that, some people have KPIs of 50 calls a day, etc. But on average, you could only do 5, because a call would take on average 50 minutes. If you were trusted and if you were empathetic towards the client, and how are you? Are you okay? How can we help you? Calls, genuine care calls. And John, you're on the line. You actually taught me 3 weeks ago. You talked about care calls versus value calls, and it really helped us. It tweaked us as a team, because we were just going in to provide support to help the people that were in a pickle. But as we evolved through, and the clients were in lockdown, they started to come out because they were a bit bored and they were okay. So that's when we started to be able to provide the value and the service calls, and start to talk about the well, what will it look like, etc., etc. I'd really like to help you and show you guys one of the slides with what we do in sales meeting, because Matt Gibson, one of our salespeople, took our microdata, and I call it microdata because these are facts. There is so much anecdotal nonsense that's going across the industry that what comes out our mouth has to be quite accurate. Can you put a slide up? You can't. Oh.
No. Not on this short notice. It'll ruin Michael's recording.
It'll ruin your recording.
So no, you could do that. You can. I'm sure you can find it. But look, is it self-explanatory enough that we could share it afterwards, Megan?
All not influenced we really took time. So none of us have a large volume. So it's around. Well, can you read it off? Just grab it off the phone. We'll grab it for you. But it relates.
It's coming. I think it's going to come. By the way, yeah.
So it relates to, firstly, we're driving offers through with what it is we're doing, and it's not about the price, it's about the momentum that comes around the offers. Then it's the multi-offers, then it's the auctions, then it's the sales. And we would go and we would case study each sale, because in it might be a language conversation, it might be just a few words, it might be our brokers have been utterly fundamental with helping people who had to get reapproved on their pre-approvals. So there was every single piece of learning we could have about how we nurtured someone towards paper or towards a sale. All of those things help drive the momentum. Now, looking at the web traffic and the buyer inquiry that was happening around our websites as we were putting properties on during lockdown, just making that available of the activity that started to occur around property after a couple of weeks and being in lockdown, that gave sellers some encouragement that they might just put their properties back up. And then we were able to create, oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that.
Theo, we knew you could do it.
So when you're coming out of level 4 and you haven't been able to access property, we're just, there's energy around appraisals and listings. Now, new listings for that week were listings launched, not listings signed. 23 written offers. There's the private inspections, and we were only allowed to do 2 a day in this time. And then we went into open homes. So up until the Thursday, we were only allowed to do private inspections, and then we had a weekend of open homes. Fancy that. Away we went. In around sales, looking at method of sales, quite interesting for whatever week this is. And deconstructing, we've taken a lot of our black stock, which is property that's overpriced, and moving it in, working with sellers through facts, showing them facts of how by multi-offers we can get them towards a sale. So we're doing breakdowns. Now, a lot of this is to encourage our salespeople to come back into what they hadn't been doing because we weren't able to do it. So it's habit. So there you can see we're very focused on auctions with what we're doing. Got 42 auctions over the next 3 weeks, I think, up till the 30th of June. That's not bad, but we do have a target of 60. So that's just for 3 weeks. And then there's our website traffic. And all of this gets blocked out and sent out to the people that are our pipeline A sellers. And so there's a couple of case studies that Liv, you took people through, and look at the degree of information in the case study. And some of these case studies get taken out to people who are thinking of selling. So inside the content is what people need to help them make that step to go into.
And I'm loving, by the way, where was the source of this particular contact? Where do we actually start the process? On that previous one, Olivia. So, people can actually get a sense of like, wow, that's actually great. Now, what's interesting is I think everyone is doing bits of this a bit at a time. But I think what you've done with this particular framework, and it's a combination, I think, of Olivia having someone such as yourself who can bring that information together and have the team provide the data in and put it into a format. So, I love, if you slow the word information down, it becomes in a formation. So you're putting it into a form that can be utilized for clients and for team to actually take it on board and get up to not up to speed, it's the wrong word, but get a new level of confidence, because there's 2 confidence pieces here, isn't there, Megan? There's team confidence. I've got to be confident to make the calls and do the things and go in and gain an offer from a buyer. And have a conversation with a seller who says, I'm not going to make a move until September or October. Well, it's interesting you say that. Let me just share with you some information that might change that decision. By the way, I totally respect if that's what you want to do, but I think you should be at least aware of this. So it's team confidence first and then client confidence second.
Yeah, I agree. So if you're a business owner on the Hangout today, it's just going in with your team. We had to create momentum because people have been basically stuck for 8 weeks. That's how we created the momentum, just to start the economic engine going again and give our sellers facts, because there were no facts. There was only all this nonsense that's in the medias, and I'm sure that some of it will come true, because what comes out salespeople's mouths, if you say the market's terrible and it's going down 30%, well, guess what? For your seller, it may. And so it's about your belief system. So we strongly believe that this is very good real estate that we're selling. And, you know, if we create competition, we can guarantee our process, Michael. We cannot guarantee the outcome. But if we create the competition, which is what we're appointed to do, to market, communicate, negotiate, create competition, the outcome, as long as we've left no stone unturned, the seller then gets to decide, and the buyer gets to decide in a transparent way what they would like to do. So that's really, we're just showing you an example of how we got, I joke about it, our people off the COVID couch. It's not a lifestyle. You're not going to live down the crack of the COVID couch. Come on out. And so it's how do we get going? This is how we got people going. So we created a bit of fun around it. We're very serious with what it is that we're doing. We're very ambitious with what we're doing, but it's the way that we worked to all come out, because I actually didn't want to come out. It was outstanding being in lockdown. It's so beautiful, being able to live in this bubble, and like the shops were completely shut. I spent $42 in 8 weeks. Like that is, I haven't done that since I hadn't. Like
they have never seen such credit card activity on your account ever.
No, I just stopped, and then
that actually means.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, I bought an online thing on Stoicism with Ryan Holiday. It was it was beautiful. It was best $42 I've spent, actually. It was really good. Yeah. So those are some pieces. But I think, Michael, survive, revive, thrive with our people, for ourselves. Never lose the magic of what's happened to us all. And, you know, we've all, there's been some, you know, change for all of us, and the good pieces, we must work to keep the good pieces and not go back to the craziness of before. My summary of the entire experience is I am so proud. I am so proud of our people and of how our people have served their people. And it's, yeah, it's an utter blessing that we got this major handbrake in the world, and that all of us in Australasia, we've come through it. And with respect, if any of your family members have been impacted, we've all come through it, and we're most fortunate because I've been plugged into the States and Europe every day.
Absolutely.
And a lot of my learning from leadership is watching Andrew Como, actually, amazing guy. I think we're all blessed with what it is that we've got, that we've experienced from it. So a lot of blessings.
Yeah, fantastic.
So
Theo, your biggest lesson coming out of this?
Yeah, I don't know about lesson. I guess my biggest takeaway has been the communication piece, I think, and how much that matters to people. You know, and I think also it's very easy to get stuck behind a computer screen or a text message, but actually to have a proper conversation with someone, be it, you know, video chat or a phone call, was really powerful.
Yeah. So you've really, from a leadership point of view, you've seen the power of a connected conversation as opposed to a conversation. And I've seen leaders walk through their office and say, good morning, and not stop to actually, or how are you today? And not stop to actually find out how you are. So this is a huge insight that I think people could actually take away from. Olivia, for you?
Yeah, I think probably going off what Theo said, a lot of it was like people always talked about, you know, we're socially distanced, and we weren't, we're physically distanced because we were so connected with, you know, our people and everything that we were doing, you know, with everyone. It was such a highlight for me, so many things. And yeah, I think a lot of learning, you know, and the ways that we could do the better work that we were continuing to do, and kind of, I personally had the stop, start, keep mentality. So it was like the things that, you know, obviously going into lockdown, you stopped doing the things that I then started doing. And then now coming out the end of it, it's like what I'm going to keep doing from that learning. And yeah, I think too, just to keep going, because I think it was, you know, it was scary, and it was just, if you just kept going and kept doing it, it just magically somehow you just kept carrying on. And that was, yeah.
Yeah. and Olivia, this is such an important piece, and you know, something that we've talked about over the years, and that is this whole stop, start, continue, or keep. And for those of you listening in, if you haven't done that with your team as we're evolving into another mode, it's a fantastic team session. Well, it's a fantastic individual session for anyone who's tuned in listening. What am I going to start doing, stop doing, continue doing? But importantly, as a team, what do we need to start doing, stop doing, continue doing to capitalize on this and to be the most effective we possibly can be? And Megan, your biggest insight. What's your biggest insight?
My biggest insight is really it's the time to stop and take a look at what really matters, and you know what really matters, and having the privilege of the time to talk, because people are telling me on a one-to-one what really matters to them, and of course it's family. And so there's been some pretty major changes for people with what they've chosen to do with their lives from the other side of this. So someone that you know well in this business has gone and they've taken a farm for their family. So they're very ambitious as a salesperson with their team, but they've chosen to take a farm in the country. And I had a giggle with that person and said, well, look, if you can't have a year in Provence, you might as well have a year in Karaka.
and I can just see that as a video that is going to be played through over the next 12 months. That's going to be great.
But seeing the life changes. So for me, it's a great big handbrake that's occurred for all of us. I'm really pleased because it's been a lot of time. I've been by myself a hell of a lot of time, even though I've been on a hangout. So that's been important, because I've always looked in the mirror and not out the window, and to be able to see, to help others around some things, and just to see, look, if this was my last day on the planet, this is a really good last day, and every day has been like that. So some of the stuff that was keeping us busy, that's gone. It's just gone. We've worked out what really matters from this time. And, you know, I know you've got John Cunningham on there, and he's been an utter treasure as a beacon of keeping my eye on John, because I see John with his grandkids. I see him with his family. You know, it's family, each other. We are a family. We're a really great little family. They're far too young to be my children, so not like brothers and sisters, but family. And it's that's been the blessing that's come from it.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, it's been brilliant sharing these particular insights. If those of you who've been to Megan's office would know that this is actually in Megan's office. And Megan, can we just, or Theo, can you just move that the image around to see that amazing painting? Could you just talk a little bit about your, I'm not going to call it obsession, but your desire around paintings?
I just like Pamela Wolf. I love flowers. This is Pamela Wolf. So we got 5 of them in the office, and got gorgeous pieces of. It's just beauty that we can all appreciate. So this office here, there's loads of customers and clients coming through all the time, but you know we just enjoy these things together. So many of them we've chosen together as a team, and it's just nice. I like this because there's no new buds. It's actually, this artist paints, like, the thing's dying. And look at, and that's life, you know. We're not perfect, we're flawed, and so it's our appreciation of nature at its finest. And haven't we all had the opportunity to stop and listen to the leaves rustling in the trees and the water dropping on the ground, and things that it was just in our way and annoying us because we had to get to the office. So being still and just enjoying simple things, because couldn't use the car, couldn't, you know. I mean, it's really nice for the people that had private planes, but no one's going anywhere. So, you know, just appreciating life for what life is. Yeah, yeah. Well, Megan, Theo, Olivia, thank you so much for your contribution. And you know, it says there, you're a beacon, great energy as always. And I think it's a wonderful thing to look outside of ourselves. But as well as what you said there, Megan, look in the mirror and say, how can I change me? How can I upgrade me? And how can I be the best version of me as a leader to be able to spread that message to the rest of my team? You guys are doing great. Thank you so much for your contribution to help our clients, our real estate community navigate to the best outcome possible. Thank you so much, guys. Michael, thank you. We're very grateful to your community, the circle of friends that you've created around us through our opportunities with you. It's very, very special, and we have been connected throughout this experience, and it's thanks to you. So if we can help any of your members, just reach out, and anything we can pass over to you, we'd be pleased to do that.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, guys. All the best. And guys,